ask you about President Biden, because this convention is, of course, about the top of the ticket. It's also about honoring the legacy of Joe Biden, his presidency, his commitment to public service. You've known him a long time. You've worked closely with him. I wanted to ask you about, what do you think the hall is going to be like tomorrow night when he speaks?
There is going to be so much love for Joe Biden. There's going to be tears of joy when he walks into that hall. And what he has done, and I love that a major focus of this is going to be on democracy. He literally saved our democracy in the U.S.
Meanwhile,
if you look behind me over my shoulder, you'll notice those fences and snowplows in place. We've actually watched all morning as they have started to bring in more metal fencing, more barricades, and these snowplows have been kind of navigating around those barricades and getting into place around the UC. Take a look at some of this video we got earlier this morning. You can see a lot of cars have been turning around already as they're met with these new closures that have been set in place overnight and early this morning.
I love democracy. I wish I was going to the convention, but for the neighborhood, there's been no communication and very little engagement of the people who are closest to it. The parking restrictions have changed 3 times in the last week on our block, and no one's communicated to us that the protest route actually goes right in front of our building.
And that resident telling us that most of the information he's gotten actually is coming from us or other local news outlets. He says his hopes are that over the next few days, there's more direct communication from area law enforcement or even from the Secret Service. And really his concerns, Mugo Audrina, have been echoed by a lot of drivers and neighbors we've talked to in this area this morning. A lot of frustrated drivers, to say the least. We know security will just continue to get tighter as we approach opening day on Monday.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about the party of weirdos and freaks. Yes, the Democrat Party, and the freak show is coming to town in Chicago, and that has caused a whole lot of controversy. Okay, the first controversy that I want to talk about here is the fact that Democrats allegedly are giving out free abortions and vasectomies, and they have an 18-foot tall inflatable IUD called Free the Womb to be erected at the DNC. Okay, so yeah, like I told you guys, full-blown freak show at the DNC. Okay, it tells you everything you need to know in regards to what the Democrats are about, right? They're all about abortion. Now, the vasectomy thing I think is fascinating because apparently there are men that are out here trying to get vasectomies, and I'm not entirely sure if we really should be super upset about the liberals and their obsession to take themselves out of the gene pool, right? That kind of seems to be what's going on here. But apparently there's high demand for this. So let's read here. Attendees at the Democrat National Convention in Chicago will have the opportunity to get a free abortion or vasectomy just blocks away from the event. The vasectomy appointments are filling up fast. Planned Parenthood Great Rivers, which serves most of Missouri and part of southern Illinois, is sending a mobile health center to the Windy City's West Loop to offer reproductive services on Monday and Tuesday. Medication abortions are reportedly available on both days, with vasectomies being exclusively offered Monday, according to the New York Times. Quote, there are going to be people traveling to Chicago from all over the country. Dr. Colleen McNicholas, the chief medical officer of Planned Parenthood Great Rivers, told the paper, quote, and I think we should be doing what we can as healthcare professionals to show what the impact of good policy and bad policy is. Yeah, so I don't think that giving out free abortions and vasectomies at the DNC is going to do anything in regards to showing people what good and bad policy is. If anything, it shows how immoral the Democrat Party is and how weirdly obsessed they are with killing babies, okay? And now they have men giving themselves the snip, okay, which is something that, hey, if you are an older man and, you just don't want to have kids anymore and you don't want your wife to go through any type of procedures and operations, you'd rather do it, I get it, right? I totally understand it. I get it. But if you are a young man, yeah, you haven't had any kids yet, and maybe you want kids in the future, I'm not entirely sure. But if you're a young man and you're getting this as some badge of honor, right? Some flex for liberal women, which is what a lot of these dudes like to do, these liberal men. They like to virtue signal for women that they want to sleep with, right? I mean, I think that's where a lot of it comes from personally. But regardless, if you're one of those men, okay, that is just getting this as some political badge of honor or a virtue signal, then again, I can't say that I'm upset that you're taking yourself out of the chamber, right? I'm just saying, right? I'm just saying. But you didn't see this at the RNC, okay? The RNC actually was respectable, unlike the DNC. And also what you didn't see at the RNC is local businesses boarding up, okay? Preparing for riots and chaos, theft, crime that comes along with the Democrat Party and supporters of the Democrats. That's what businesses are doing in Chicago. Not only are they building a wall around the convention center, which, by the way, is funny because Democrats told us that walls don't work. Okay, the walls won't work to keep illegals out of the country. Okay, but the wall will work to keep pro-Palestinians out of the DNC convention, right? This is the logic from the Democrats here. Okay, now maybe I should invest in one of those ladder factories that Tim Walz said he would invest in when he was talking about how Trump's border wall would be ineffective. Okay, well, let's see if that same line of logic applies here when it comes to the pro-Palestinians, okay? I'm just saying, Democrats are building walls, okay? You have businesses boarding up. These aren't things that you saw at the RNC convention. It tells you everything you need to know about the difference between the two parties, okay, and what they represent. Democrats, chaos and destruction. Republicans, law and order, right? Just look at the difference, okay? The contrast is there. So, without further ado, let's get into this.
Is set to begin. Area businesses are taking some precautions.
WGN's Andrea Medina shows you how some companies in the Loop are starting to board up ahead of the big event.
Given the uncertainty surrounding next week's convention, businesses are taking steps to prevent potential threats to their property like looting or vandalism by adding protection.
We've had zero indication that there would be any protections down in the Loop.
That's why the owner of Sid Jerome Menswear is reinforcing his downtown store by covering up the windows with plywood in anticipation of possible civil unrest and violent protests that may come from the Democratic National Convention next week.
We know from past experiences that something could ensue, so we wanted to be proactive and get ahead of it.
The men's clothing shop is located on Madison Street, which is down the block from City Hall and along the main route to the United Center, where significant gatherings are expected. The owner hopes these measures will be sufficient to prevent potential damages and avoid a repeat of past incidents.
Wow. Again, ain't that a damn shame? Ain't it a damn shame that we live in a country where the narrative from the left and from the media is that, well, when you talk about domestic violence, what you need to worry about are the right-wingers, the Trump supporters. That's who you need to worry about, okay? And as a result, they weaponize the government against those people. But yet, when you have the DNC come to town, we're talking about Democrat National Convention, you have businesses boarding up because they remember what these same people did years ago when it comes to domestic violence and extremism. I can't remember the last time that a city had to board up, that businesses had to prepare for Trump supporters to steal and to cause chaos and destruction. Can anybody tell me when the last time that happened, right? Can anybody tell me the last time that happened? That's never happened, right? I don't think that's ever happened. But this happens so often when it comes to left-wingers, and when they come into town, right, the extremism that they bring, businesses, again, they have to prepare for the worst, okay? I remember doing a BLM protest. You have businesses saying that I'm black-owned, right? Don't attack me, okay? Don't vandalize my business. Don't steal. Black-owned, right? This is what they had to do. So, you know, it's just funny because the narrative is that most of the violence in this country comes from the right, but that's just simply not the case. A vast majority of the political violence, the domestic violence in this country, domestic terrorism is what you can define it as, really, comes from the left. And I guarantee you, if Trump wins, guess who will be boarding up, right? Guess who will be boarding up? These same business owners that boarded up during the BLM riots, the same business owners that boarded up during the Antifa riots, the same business owners that boarded up during the Roe v. Wade riots, The same business owners that board up during the pro-Palestinian riots and the same business owners that now have to board up for the DNC convention. Tells you everything you need to know.
We've been a victim on 4 separate occasions where we've been vandalized or looted for, various incidents or events that happened in the city.
They're not alone.
AKA Democrat events, right? Democrat, liberal, far left, unrest, right? That is what he means.
And their concerns. The Chicago Board of Services says their crews have been actively boarding up storefronts over the past few days to mitigate losses and destruction. So far, they've secured 12 locations around the West Loop, downtown, and Daly Center area, with plans to board up additional businesses this weekend.
We're not pushing it. We're hoping that the city will be comfortable and there will be no unrest. But if you feel that you want your doors boarded, it's better to board them up than to wait and have to board them up and replace glass.
A spokesperson with the Chicago Loop Alliance indicates that they believe the convention will go off successfully without harming businesses and considers boarding up with plywood to be unnecessary, though they understand why business owners are taking these precautions. Mayor Brandon Johnson is also confident the DNC will proceed smoothly with the support of the Chicago Police Department.
But we're also coordinating with Secret Service and other local law enforcement agencies to ensure that we have a vibrant, safe, productive DNC.
The board up company says if businesses need something boarded up, they encourage them to do it ahead of the convention, but they say that crews will be available if they need something done next week. Reporting in the Loop, Andrea Medina, WGN News.
Wow. Wow. That must be a hell of a business, right? That must be a hell of a business in a liberal city, okay? Let me go buy a boarding up company, right? Right before the election, okay? I should go invest in one because that's a hell of a business right there in a liberal city. Yeah. This type of stuff is bound to happen. And it really is a shame that we live in a country where business owners have to cower in fear of liberal mobs, right? Destroying their cities. But yet the narrative from the media is that, oh, well, it's the right-wingers. You need to worry about them. Even when Trump was arrested, even when Trump was having all these trials and stuff like that, businesses didn't have to board up, right? They weren't boarding up because Trump supporters were going to invade New York City and cause chaos and destruction. Because Trump supporters are not the people in this country that are causing all the chaos and the violence, right? And committing the crimes, right? All the people that are committing the crimes that are causing the chaos and the destruction are on the left. This is why you have businesses that have to prepare for Democrats to come into town. Oh, hell. They bring in the hood, right? They bring in the pro-Palestinians. They bring in the whack jobs, the freaks into town, the lunatics. So we got to board up. We got to make sure we don't get robbed. It's a damn shame. It really is. The Democrats should be ashamed of themselves that this is the type of person that you appeal to, right? These people are the main supporters of Democrats. Agents of chaos, thugs, criminals, rioters. Again, these are the people that the Democrats appeal to. And they have emboldened these individuals to the point where it is basically backfired on them to support these individuals, right? Again, what you're saying is a result of Democrats fostering the extremism within their own party and within the left side of the political aisle. And this is what you get, right? It's turned on the Democrats and now they're facing the consequences of what they created. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.